Welcome everyone to That Sexy Nerd Reacts, and today we're reacting to the new Rockstars edition, a trailer breakdown of House of the Dragon. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for House of the Dragon now. I love Game of Thrones. As I said, if you didn't see the last episode, have the Stark logo tattooed on my arm. And look at me, I'm speechless. I totally was able to see everything. Like the trailer, I saw the trailer and I loved everything about it. It's basically from what I know in the books and from what I've seen in videos and explanations and all that stuff. You know, it's basically it was on the screen. It was on the damn screen, and I wonder if this is how Game of Thrones fans felt when they had first watched the show, because it's a really good experience, you know. I mean, I wish I'd read the books before I had actually gotten into, but you know, younger kid, not really interested in reading. Ironically, I was in college when Game of Thrones came out, so I was reading already way too many books, studying and blah blah blah, and then, well, pretending to study and mostly partying. But anyway, enough about college. Let's get into the new That Sexy Nerd Reacts to the House of Dragon trailer breakdown by New Rockstars. And don't forget, please like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content, and I'll get as much content as I possibly can to you. Alright, let's get into it.
New House of the Dragon teaser just dropped, so spoilers ahead, let's get right into it. Nope, this isn't Daenerys Targaryen, a black-robed, white-haired woman overlooking the shores of what appears to be Dragonstone, the same place Daenerys will take control of 200 years later. This is Rhaenyra Targaryen, the only child of Viserys I, who currently sits on the Iron Throne.
She's as not the only child.
Kingdoms. As we'll see throughout the trailer, we'll have both young and older versions of herself, so this story will last several years. Here we have an establishing shot on the tumultuous shores of Dragonstone, which you can make out in the background. The voiceover makes reference to legacy, which seems to be one of the major themes of House of the Dragon, and it makes sense considering many of the bloodlines we'll see in this trailer will continue on in A Song of Fire and Ice. You'll recognize this place as the steps leading up to Dragonstone, where we have Prince Daemon Targaryen holding a dragon egg. To his left is Mysaria, a confidant and unofficial mistress to the prince, and it looks like a trade is happening here, the dragon egg in exchange for Daemon and Mysaria's baby. This scene sets up the ongoing feud between Prince Daemon and current Hand of the King, Sir Otto Hightower. Prince Daemon believes he's the rightful heir to the throne should his older brother, King Viserys, not produce a male heir, but Sir Otto Hightower believes that if this does not happen, the role should fall to Viserys' daughter, Rhaenyra. So already we have a lot of jostling for power when it comes to who controls the throne. To Otto's left appears to be Knight of the Kingsguard, Creston Cole. He becomes a far more pivotal character later on in the series. And check out a totally not burned to the ground King's Landing. You can even make out the Great Sept of Baelor over to the left. It's tough to make out, but this looks like it could be Prince Daemon riding the dragon known as Caraxes. It looks like a woman. If it's Rhaenyra, then it's her and her dragon, Syrax. Well, it's just like we're home again in the Great Hall of King's Landing, where King Viserys sits on his throne with several ancestors of known houses pledging their allegiance. Among them, the Starks, who we actually don't get to see, Corlys of House Valyrian, and Bormund of House Baratheon. King Viserys stands watch, holding one of two ancestral Targaryen blades. I think this is Blackfire, but it could be its companion blade, the Dark Sister. He doesn't wield Dark Sister. You'll notice here are the amount of blades surrounding the throne. From my research, it appears this was done to make the throne more in line with the books, but it also serves to show just how powerful and intimidating the current ruler is compared to, say, a Robert Baratheon or those who came after him. Here we get a look at young. You just didn't want to mention Joffrey, did you? Confirmed she has been named heir to the throne, which when you realize this next shot is of Daemon looking pretty pissed, you can see how this season will be a power struggle between these two camps, at least for a bit. And Daemon wastes no time taking out his anger on the citizens of King's Landing. This might take place in Flea Bottom, and not sure if this season will cover it, but Daemon will become commander of the City Watch, so this may also depict that. This is Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. She tells Rhaenyra that some men would rather see the city burn than have a woman rule. Kinda ironic since a woman ruler will end up literally burning the city. Back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra overlooks the painted table of Westeros just like Daenerys will 200 years later. Notice the blade here. I wonder if it's the same one her father was holding in the throne room.
That I believe is Dark Sister.
In the background, clad in armor. It appears as though some war meeting was held, as you can see various markers on the map. Now this looks like it could be the ruined halls of Harrenhal, where the lords of the Seven Kingdoms vote on who will succeed the throne after the sudden death of Balon Targaryen. We've actually seen these ruins in Season 2 of Game of Thrones. This event actually takes place before Viserys ends up as king, and if we were to go on birth order alone, Rhaenys should have taken over as queen. This is why she's also known as the Queen That Never Was, since she's passed over on account of her being a woman. So therefore, Viserys ends up as king. Here we have Alicent Hightower, daughter to the Hand of the King, arriving at a large feast and kissing Viserys on the cheek. She will later become second wife to the king. A dragon egg over hot coals, keeping it warm before hatching. Likely the same egg Daemon was holding earlier in the trailer. Back to Sir Otto Hightower, here we can see him clearly wearing that Hand of the King pin. He tells his daughter that they both play an ugly game, alluding to the Game of Thrones, and that they can actually win it. So it looks like he's pimping his daughter to get her with the king. Joining the party is Corlys Velaryon, who I should mention is married to Rhaenys. And here is Daemon off to the side of the end table, smugly watching the night's festivities. He might even be watching Rhaenyra dancing with a Velaryon. We don't see his face, but this might be Corlys' son Laenor, who becomes Rhaenyra's first husband. And this might even be their wedding. This is a marriage of convenience, which would unite the Targaryen and Velaryon houses, but we'll learn that Laenor is more into sexy young squires than he is with women.
And then not only that, I'll say this right now. Yeah, she'll go ahead and actually screw one of the king's guards and pop out 3 babies. I love Game of Thrones.
So the people celebrating here aren't celebrating a wedding, because we know how those turn out in Game of Thrones. But guess who becomes Rhaenyra's second husband? It's Daemon. So it looks like this teaser is setting up all of this stuff. Taking a darker turn, we have a funeral where a stone casket is dropped into the sea. Notice the House Velaryon sigils off to the side. To me, this appears to be a woman's casket. In the wide shot here, you can see what might be Corlys Velaryon pushing the casket into the ocean, so it's likely someone from his family, maybe his daughter Laena. This shot of older Rhaenyra seems to take place at this funeral, as she's wearing the same red dress found in the wide shot. This one of Alicent and Creston Cole may also be from this scene, but we can't be 100% sure. Now this shot has been causing quite a stir, as debates have sprung up if this is either Aegon II or Daemon Targaryen. I happen to think this is Daemon, where he's brought to the king, where he'll later be exiled for having sex with Rhaenyra.
Probably.
Let me know in the comments what you think. Creston Cole here going absolute ham on some poor soul, and check out this blood pact, followed by a shot of Daemon and Rhaenyra. Looks like this is them getting married. Here we have Otto Hightower once again at Dragonstone, with Daemon holding the egg preparing for battle. This is followed by Alicent attempting to murder Rhaenyra with the Cat's Paw dagger. Now the Cat's Paw dagger has a huge history in the world of Westeros, being passed down from various famous characters. You might remember it as being the dagger that almost killed Bran Stark in Season 1 of Game of Thrones. If I were to hazard a guess, this is Alicent trying to exact some sort of revenge on Rhaenyra. Our final shot is of Daemon uncovering a dragon, and I don't think we nor Daemon really knows which dragon this is. He looks pretty shocked for someone who's supposed to be able to control.
I know what it is!
Maybe this is the dragon that hatched from that egg years later. But I want to know what you think, not only about the egg, but the entire season. I'm planning to cover the whole series once it comes out, so make sure you like and subscribe.
Same here. So ironically, I think I can actually answer some of the questions that he had, and I believe that dragon is actually not the dragon that, what do you call it? That hatches, well, okay, it actually could be hatching from the dragon egg, but that actually can lead into something greater that happens. During the Civil War, they're in need of dragons, and they eventually start, recruiting people because, the Targaryens would go in and, bang the populace, basically. They'd go by and they'd bang whoever they wanted in the populace and everything. And that leads to a lot of bastards. And and it does lead to eventually their Rhaenyra's side needs more support and everything during the war, and they're going to start recruiting people who possibly have the blood of the dragon, and they're going to recruit people and they're going to put them in front of these damn things, and most of them are going to get eaten and killed because they're going to be like, oh, I got dragon blood, my parents were my father or mother was a Targaryen, I'm a bastard. And then, then the dragons will be like, haha, you're funny, and eat them. So, but they do recruit a few, and it actually kind of makes sense that Daemon is the one to find this dragon, because it actually leads into a story later where he starts having an affair with one of the dragon riders. And and honestly, I think if I'm mistaken, I think it was him who actually found some of the dragons himself, and that could be that scene. That's why I was like, oh man, that's great. Also, I also want to say about the cat's paw dagger. It's a little weird. I don't remember it being in the books, or if it wasn't as focused on as it is in the show. But it's a little interesting. First of all, I wonder what the hell Alicent Hightower is trying to stab Rhaenyra for, because, I hope they at least, determine that they used to be, somewhat friends or something like that, because if they start out as enemies, it's not as interesting, it's like, I don't know if everybody here has watched Once Upon a Time, but the mother was befriending Snow White. The stepmother was befriending Snow White so she could eventually kill her and everything. But I kind of want to see them being friends and then eventually growing up to really hate each other and stuff like that, as it is, because that's far more interesting than her just hating her entire life just because she's in her way. I want there to be some likability for Alicent, because everybody's gonna hate her. Trust me, everybody's gonna think she's a bitch. Trust me, I think she's a bitch. But it's nice if she starts out somewhat likable. Like maybe she's like when Rhaenyra's a kid, she starts being not really a mother figure, but there she looks up to her, blah blah blah. Because there's going to be a lot of stuff that she gets up to when she's younger. It's questionable, as I said during the trailer analysis. She hates the guy she's married to, Corlys Velaryon, so much. They hate each other so much because one is gay, one is straight, and not only that, Rhaenyra was like, yeah, I don't want to marry this guy, blah blah blah. I like someone else, and she was basically forced into getting married. Which it's understandable. Yeah, it is. But, as I said, she gets so mad that she's forced to marry this guy that she kind of has sex with one of the guards, it's the King's Guard. She has sex with one of the King's Guard and pops out 3 bastards. And, the only thing that prevents the entire realm from basically saying, oh, these kids are bastards, is basically Viserys, her father, King Viserys the First. Not even the second. There were actually 2 Viseryses before Mr. Golden Crown got his crown. I love this stuff. I love this stuff so much. A very interesting trailer. I love the trailer analysis. He did miss a few points, but, you can't be perfect. And he probably, who knows, maybe he didn't even read the books, or he doesn't remember them as well. Because, man, that stuff is so interesting, and it could be made to be really good. And honestly, from this, I hope there are even more Game of Thrones adaptations, because the entire Targaryen history is a very, very interesting history. There's even another version of King Henry VIII, and we all know how fat that guy, fat and terrible of a king he was. So imagine the Game of Thrones equivalent to that. It's bad. It's really, really bad. But anyway, This has been That Sexy Nerd Reacts, and I'll see y'all in the next video.